If you grew up in the 90s or just love cars with a passion, you know that era was a golden age for automotive enthusiasts. Among the legends on the street and strip, Hondas quietly made a name for themselves, not just as reliable daily drivers, but as surprising quarter-mile monsters. So which Hondas ruled the drag strip back then? Let's roll into the 12 fastest Hondas over the quarter mile in the 90s. Number 1. 1997 Honda Civic Hatchback Turbo, 10.8 seconds. Let's kick things off with a street legend, the turbocharged Civic Hatchback. This is the definition of a sleeper. The 1997 Honda Civic Hatchback didn't look like much. Stock body, factory headlights, maybe a dent or two from daily driving, but pop the hood and you'd find a boosted B18C1, running over 20 psi with a fat turbo, forged internals, and a whole lot of attitude. This wasn't a car built to show off, it was built to disappear down the quarter mile. And it did. Tuners from shops like JG Engine Dynamics pushed these builds to run as fast as 10.8 seconds, which was downright savage for the time. The magic? Power-to-weight ratio. The Civic hatch was light, had front-wheel drive grip, and with the right drag radials, launched like a slingshot. You'd laugh at it at a stoplight, and then cry 2 seconds later as it vanished in your rear view. Number 2. 1998 Acura Integra Type R, tuned, 11.3 seconds. The 1998 Acura Integra Type R wasn't just fast, it was a masterpiece. Honda called it the closest thing to a street-legal race car, and they weren't exaggerating. From the factory, it came with a hand-ported B18C5 engine, lightweight chassis, limited slip diff, and a suspension setup that begged to be pushed. But when tuners got their hands on it, the game changed. With bolt-on upgrades, think cold air intake, high-flow headers, performance exhaust, and a proper ECU tune, the B18C5 roared to life. Add cams, upgraded fuel injectors, and some weight reduction, and the Integra Type R was suddenly running 11.3 seconds on the quarter mile. That's serious speed for a naturally aspirated front-wheel drive car. What made the ITR so dangerous was how it handled the power. It didn't just launch hard, it stayed planted, precise, and surgical through every gear change. And unlike many turbo builds, it didn't rely on boost lag or nitrous to go fast. It just worked. Clean, reliable, brutal. Number 3. 1991 Honda CRX Turbo B Series 11.1 seconds. The 1991 Honda CRX was already a legend for being lightweight, nimble, and endlessly tunable. But in the hands of serious builders, it became a straight-line monster. We're talking about the Turbo B Series swaps, typically B18 or B20, shoehorned into this little chassis with big boost and bigger ambitions. Tuners in the mid to late 90s stripped out everything they didn't need, ran drag slicks, and cranked up the PSI. Suddenly, this 1,900-pound go-kart was blasting down the quarter mile in 11.1 seconds. The best part? Most people underestimated it. To the untrained eye, it was just an old, rattly Honda with faded paint. But on the strip, it had the reflexes of a jackrabbit and the bite of a pit bull. It didn't just go fast, it launched like it had a grudge. If you've ever seen one in action, you know the truth. The CRX didn't play fair. Number 4. 1999 Honda Accord V6 Coupe Nitrous, 12.0 seconds. A late 90s Honda Accord doesn't exactly scream drag strip, right? But that's what made it dangerous. The 1999 Accord V6 Coupe came with a 3.0-litre J-Series engine, smooth, torquey, and ripe for mods. While most people saw it as a comfy daily driver, a few mad scientists saw potential. Toss in a well-tuned nitrous system, upgrade the fuel pump, slap on some sticky tires, and suddenly this quiet coupe was breaking into 12.0-second territory on the quarter mile. It didn't need a turbo to be scary, just the element of surprise. The best builds kept the interior stock, the paint faded, and the exhaust whisper quiet. Until launch. Then it hit like a sledgehammer. Watching one of these fly past muscle cars was always a jaw-dropper. Because the truth is, nobody expected the family car to be this fast, and that's exactly why it worked. Number 5. 1992 Honda Prelude C VTEC H22A Turbo, 11.7 seconds. The Prelude was never the most talked about Honda, but it should have been, especially the 4th-gen C VTEC with the H22A engine. That 2.2-litre DOHC VTEC was a beast right out of the box. Torquey, rev-happy and smooth. But bolt on a turbo, a whole different animal. Tuners in both Japan and the US discovered that the H22A loved boost. With upgraded internals, bigger injectors, and a serious turbo setup, these Preludes were hitting 11.7-second quarter-mile times easily. The chassis wasn't as light as a Civic, but it had more grunt and stability on the launch. You'd often see these builds with gutted interiors, drag radials, and big front-mount intercoolers peeking through the bumper. And let's be honest, the Prelude looked good doing it. Sleek lines, pop-up headlights, and that growl of turbo spool under VTEC. Yeah, it was a vibe, a highly underrated one. Number 6. 1994 Honda Civic Coupe, all-motor B20/VTEC, 12.2 seconds. Not every fast Honda needed a turbo. Some builds went all-motor, and they were just as deadly. The 1994 Civic Coupe with a B20/VTEC setup was the ultimate Frankenstein. Take the low-end torque of a CR-V's B20 bottom end and pair it with a high-revving VTEC head from a B16 or B18. Then throw in high-compression pistons, big cams, a ported head, a custom intake, and meticulous tuning, and suddenly you had a screamer. These all-motor builds didn't rely on boost. They relied on raw engineering and fine-tuned balance. And when done right, this Civic could run the quarter in 12.2 seconds flat. The sound was unreal, screaming past 8,000 RPM, no turbo hiss, just pure mechanical fury. It was high risk, high reward, no room for sloppy tuning or cheap parts, but when it hit just right, it was like magic, naturally aspirated magic. Number 7. 1996. Honda Del Sol TEC Turbo D16, 11.9 seconds. The Honda Del Sol was never supposed to be fast. It was cute, quirky. A compact Targa top designed for weekend drives, not quarter-mile blasts. But as it turns out, under that sunny, carefree shell lived a serious performance sleeper, if you had the right setup. The 1996 Del Sol VTEC came with a D16Y8 engine. Lightweight, efficient, and easily boosted. That's exactly what some gearheads did. Slapped on a turbo, upgraded the internals, added a proper fuel system, and tuned it just right. The result? Quarter-mile passes in the 11.9 second range. What made the Del Sol deadly was its power-to-weight ratio. It was feather-light, especially compared to modern cars. And with a boosted D16, it had no problem putting down serious horsepower. On the strip, this meant brutal launches, quick shifts, and a lot of shocked faces. And here's the kicker. Most of these builds retained the Targa roof. That meant you could drop the top, enjoy the breeze, and still outrun cars with triple the sticker price. It was everything the 90s tuner scene loved, affordable, unique, and deceptively quick. Number 8. 1995 Acura NSX Supercharged, 11.5 seconds. Here comes the Halo car. The Acura NSX was Honda's answer to Ferrari, and in the 90s it delivered. Mid-engine layout, aluminum body, screaming V6. It was already a performance icon. But for those who wanted more straight-line muscle, the answer was forced induction. Enter Comptech's supercharger kits. Bolt one onto the NSX's 3.0-litre V6, bump horsepower into the 400s, and suddenly this precision-handling exotic was blasting down the quarter mile in 11.5 seconds. The throttle response stayed razor-sharp, the power band fattened up, and the sound. A mix of whine and wail that gave goosebumps. What made it even cooler? It still looked like a classy, understated supercar. No giant turbos, no crazy body kits. Just speed, perfectly balanced. And while most Honda drag builds were front-wheel drive street brawlers, the NSX was elegance with an edge. Smooth, confident, and brutally fast when provoked. The kind of car that didn't need to yell, it just passed you at 130. Number 9. 1993 Honda Accord Wagon Turbo H22 Swap, 12.1 seconds. Now this one, pure chaos, in the best way. A 1993 Accord Wagon isn't supposed to be fast. It's supposed to haul groceries, kids, maybe a couch on the weekend. But that's exactly what made it the perfect sleeper. Tuners yanked out the factory F-Series engine and dropped in a turbocharged H22A from a Prelude. With forged internals, a custom manifold, and a big turbo, this long-roof family hauler suddenly had over 350 horsepower to the wheels. And on the drag strip, it was clocking 12.1-second quarter-mile runs like it was nothing. People would laugh when it pulled up until it left them gaping at its tailgate. It still had roof racks, sometimes even a baby seat inside. But the moment that boost hit, the wagon earned respect. It was weird, it was wonderful, and it proved something important. Fast Hondas don't have to be small, they just have to be bold. Number 10, 991, Acura Legend Coupe, built V6 nitrous, 12.3 seconds. At first glance, the 1991 Acura Legend Coupe looked more executive lounge than drag strip bruiser. With its plush leather interior, wood trim, and gentlemanly ride quality, it wasn't exactly begging for a burnout. But some builders saw past the luxury and straight into its potential. The Legend came equipped with the C32 AV6, a naturally aspirated engine with a smooth power band and loads of torque. Most overlooked it. But with forged internals, an upgraded valve train, and a nitrous oxide system, this big-body coupe became something dangerous. Tuned correctly, it ran the quarter mile in 12.3 seconds. Not bad for a car that weighed nearly 3,600 pounds. And the beauty, it didn't lose its luxury. Many builds retained full interiors, quiet cabins, premium sound systems. You could blast Marvin Gaye on the way to the strip, gap a Mustang, and head home in silence. It was a different flavor of fast, refined, confident, and brutally effective when provoked. Not many people built drag legends, but the ones who did, they knew something others didn't. Sometimes torque and surprise are all you need. Number 11, 1990, Honda Civic Wagon RT, 4WD Turbo D, 16, 12.4 seconds. If you're talking about oddball Hondas that secretly haul, literally and figuratively, the 1990 Civic Wagon RT 4WD deserves a shout. From the outside, it looked like a practical grocery getter. Tall roof, long windows, and if you were lucky, some faded bumper stickers. But underneath, something special. This model came with Honda's real-time four-wheel drive system, originally designed to help in snow and rough terrain. But drag racers saw its hidden potential, traction. By pairing that all-wheel grip with a turbocharged D16 engine, this quirky wagon transformed into a straight-line launch machine. With upgraded rods, forged pistons, and a properly tuned turbo setup, these wagons were blasting down the quarter mile in 12.4 seconds. That's Civic hatch territory, but with more traction and twice the confusion from spectators. They weren't common, but the ones that showed up at the strip always drew a crowd, because no one expected a Civic wagon, especially one with all-wheel drive, to launch like that. It was fun, functional, and fast, and best of all, you could still throw a mountain bike in the back after embarrassing someone in a Camaro. Number 12, 1997 Acura CLJ, 32 swap plus spray, 11.8 seconds. The 1997 Acura CL isn't what you'd call a head-turner. It was Honda's quiet entry into the luxury coupe scene. Comfortable, reliable, and, honestly, a little forgettable. But that's exactly why it made the perfect sleeper. Under the radar, over the line, here's how it became a monster. Tuners began swapping in the J32 V6 from the Acura TL Type S. That engine was smooth, torquey, and durable, with around 260 horses stock. But with bolt-ons, forged internals, and the secret weapon, a nitrous kit, the CL transformed from a commuter car into an unexpected drag strip killer. The final result? A clean, calm coupe blasting down the quarter mile in 11.8 seconds. And it looked stock. That was the kicker. Factory wheels, OEM paint, quiet idle, until the lights went green, and then it launched like it had something to prove. The J32's torque paired beautifully with nitrous, giving instant pull that caught everyone off guard. What made this build special wasn't just the numbers, it was the philosophy behind it. While most folks were chasing Civic hatches or turbo Integras, these J-swapped CL builds quietly carved out their own legend. Few in number, but unforgettable to anyone who lined up next to one. It was proof that with the right parts, a little creativity, and a touch of madness, You could make even the mildest Honda into a quarter-mile assassin. So what made the 90s special wasn't just the cars, it was the culture. People were learning, experimenting, and sharing builds before YouTube or Instagram. Every tenth of a second shaved off the clock was a badge of honor. Civics were built in garages, Integras made headlines, even wagons showed up to the party. And most of all, these cars were driven to school, to work, to meets, and then straight to the strip. That's the kind of spirit that built the Honda legacy we still see today. Think these cars still hold up today, or has the modern era left them in the dust? Let us know what your favorite build from the 90s is. And hey, if you liked this blast down memory lane, consider subscribing for more.